Okay, so we've got Beverley Poole here, who is our speaker for the final session. Hi, Beverley, welcome.
Hello there, nice to see everybody.
So I think we're good to start straight away. We are going to be finishing, we're a little bit late starting, so apologies about that, but we will be finishing at 15:50. So I'll keep an eye on the time. In the meantime, I'll hand over to Beverley, if that's okay, and then if we've got a chance, we will come back to any questions if you want to pop them in the chat as normal. So Beverley, if you're happy.
Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen.
So I'll go on mute now and leave you to your presentation.
Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everybody in the room. I'm not quite sure how many people are in here, which is probably a good idea. But I think my biggest critic is in here, actually, and also my own coach. So there you go. So it looks like there's 35 people in the room at the moment. So great to have you on board. I've made loads and loads of notes, and I've got a presentation here which is going to go through a little bit about myself and my background, and a little bit about you, a little bit about business that I've collected over the last few weeks, and also then we'll touch on the e-learning programs that I've been talking about. So just for your own benefit, I have actually put coloured slides in here for people that find it difficult to read black on white, so that it's nice and inclusive for everybody. I won't be touching on finance today because that's a specialist area, and I know that Richard, I think, has talked about that this morning. So I'll just get on with my own presentation. This first is just a picture of me, and it says I'm an entrepreneur, mentor, educator and trainer, and then at the bottom of there is all the things I do in my own time, mum, daughter, sister, friend. A couple of quotes that I like to use is, we only see the world through our own eyes. So if everybody takes one thing away from this afternoon, I'll be absolutely delighted. And then the other thing is that I always say is that the road to hell is paved with gold and diamonds, and the road to heaven is paved with hard work, which is what we're all going through at the moment. But if we all stay strong, we all stay solid, we will all do really well at the end of the day. So well done everybody for being on board. Let's click on to the next one. I'm just going to move my screen a second. There we go. So this is just a little bit about me, really. These are the three businesses that I have at the moment. Beverley Poole is a mentoring, motivation and insightful company. I'm a mentor, I'm a business mentor. I do troubleshooting, strategic planning, communications for business, mentoring on personal development, statement making, the sort of thing that you think about when you walk down the stairs in your best clothes at Christmas and you're making that fantastic statement. Same as with your business. So that's what I look at. I look at your brand, your statement, your positioning, the whole thing, right from scratch, and then your offer and what you're actually, what you would like to develop. Voluntary work that I do, I'm LinkedIn local host for Bournemouth and Poole. It's a not-for-profit meetup group, which we have about 4 times a year, and we raised £4,700 last year for various charities in the Dorset area, and we're hoping to have our next one in October and December. They run off sponsorship, so we're able to give all that money from tickets to charity. I'm a local enterprise advisor for Burgate School in Fordingbridge, which means I help them with their career programme. I'm a columnist for a magazine which is called Socialite, and my column is called Career Hub. I'm a young enterprise dragon, which means I give money to people to set up businesses, and I'm also developing an app at the moment for mental health for young people. So not a lot of things going on really. My business I set up at the end of last year is Aspire for Business Academy, which is a fully hosted and administered e-learning platform where we mentor, upload, administer, certificate, market and PR your work. And I'm going to come on to that last. Events-wise, we're on hold at the moment, which is Aspire for Business Events. We have a breakfast club, which we run at City College in Southampton for the students to get some experience of hospitality. For their curriculum, and also I'm just about to start Academy Online, which is going to be events Q&A type training online, and that's going to be once a fortnight. So that's a little bit about the businesses that I have at the moment. And what's my experience? So I basically see problems, and I've got some boxes on the screen here, which I'll just run through. So 1/3 of my career, I've actually been in business. I've run business operations and worked with companies like subsidiaries of BT, the Mars Group, 3M, and I spent 10 years in the city in London working as a broker and in a recruitment and training business, and spoke at the Institute of Directors at 25, so not really that bad. The training business I had was acquired by one of the P&O companies, which put me in a directorship at just age 31. And I've also set up business operations for the Chrysalis Group, Black Horse. I helped them to reorganise the whole of their British Rail relocation accounts. And I set up Martin Hall and Co., which was a successful business consultancy in the 90s. So just when everything was going swimmingly well, I had 2 children. So decided I was going to go to back to university, and I studied early childhood developmental psychology, teacher training, and a diploma in lifelong learning, followed by my coaching qualification. The nice thing about that was it gave me the opportunity to look at how people develop themselves, which sort of brought on this whole mentoring business, which I absolutely love. And it also gave me the opportunity to understand where my children were going to be with their development. What I actually found from that study was that all the people that I'd worked with previously, I could start to sort of see where they were maybe finding life a challenge. And if anybody on the call today is a psychology buff, and you might have heard from somebody like, let's say, Abraham Maslow with his hierarchy of need, you've got that thing on its head, it's going to tipple over. And that's what I learned when I was actually doing psychology, is why people were behaving in the way that they were. So that was really great. So when I retrained into education, I was course leading eventually over 3 colleges, and turning courses around from 47% to 97% in 2 years. So this whole thread of troubleshooting and seeing problem areas was part of my background. So 3 years now back into my business, absolutely loving it, and hope to share some of that with you today. So first of all, I want to do this little exercise with you. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but it would be really helpful if you did, just to get you into a different space. So this is all about you, your business in the future, and how I can help you to do that. So we've got a little exercise. It's going to take about 1 minute. I'd like everybody to sit in their chair, close their eyes, and just relax for a minute. So if you want to do that. Now, whilst you're doing that, lady in the middle, drop your shoulders. So drop your shoulders, because if you're sitting in an upright position, you'll generally tend to be holding your shoulders up. Relax your arms. Relax your thighs. Relax your hips. And the thing people find most difficult, let your tummy out. Now, once you're in that position, and you take some really nice deep breaths, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Your body should be in a nice relaxed state, nice and focused, and ready to begin. So if you open your eyes now, you'll hopefully be feeling a little bit more relaxed on a Friday afternoon. And I was reading an article this morning from Simon Jack from the BBC. He says this is the greatest shock to the business economy for a decade. And when we went first down into lockdown, Darren Slade from the Echo Group asked if I would write an article about business survival, which I did, which is in the Hampshire Business Magazine this month on page 20. I asked a trusted advisor in RSM, who are a restructuring company, and they said if we were on a 10-round boxing match, we would be in round 1. And I likened it to being stranded on a desert island, and what would we actually need to do? So first of all, safety, and then skills for survival. So I always use an outside business model, which I'll come on to in a moment, and it will start to show itself as we go through my talk. So when we first went on this lockdown, the first thing that came into my mind as a psychologist was the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who's a Swiss psychiatrist, and she adapted this thing called the grief cycle. And it's been adapted in business for change curve, which helps people to understand where they are at any particular time going through some stages. So in this, what we actually have, if you look at the bottom of that picture, we've got information and communication, which is what everybody was looking for to start with, what we're doing, how we're going to do it. In the middle of that, we started looking for some emotional support. And then at the final end of this, we'll be looking for guidance and direction. Now, if you're a peer, or a leader, or a team member, or an individual within those teams, you could be at any one of those places at any one time. But everybody looks to their leaders, don't they, or people that can actually help them to disseminate where they actually are with their feelings and their emotions. So all the peer-to-peer groups that I belong to at the moment, that's Vicenza and Vistage and a couple of others, are all talking in the same way. And concerns that are coming up from that are what's actually going to happen in the longer term and how to actually manage that process. Just go on. So let's just look at you. This is one of the events that I held recently. Everybody's sort of waving their hands, and everybody's different, aren't they? We all little animals at the end of the day, little flowers that get knocked over. We do our very best every day, and we've all got different DNA. So we've got to be kind to ourselves. That's the most important thing during this really difficult time. But everybody in that room, totally different characters, great to get to know people. And this is what we're just going to talk about, is you as an individual. So it's a Slice of Life programme, which is something I've developed over the last 10 years. I look at all the things that are on the screen there. So we've got financial health, social health, geographic health, physical health, relationship health, and career health. And which of those areas you can actually put into your box and decide, or your circle, and decide which of those are the most important things that you want to work with at the moment. So we're all wired not to change things because it really hurts, doesn't it? It's really uncomfortable. It's frightening. We're just going into this period which is now being called the new normal, and we can't go backwards. So we have to think about why we're doing what we're going to be doing in the future and how we can actually make those areas for ourselves better. So why are we doing things? Who, what, when, where, how is what we apply to all of those subject areas at the top to try and enable us to sort of decipher where we want to be and how we want to change things for ourselves. And in a programme that I would look at for individuals, usually at director level or business owner, those are the areas that I would look at for them and see how we could actually create some solid structure. So for social health, for example, people say, I don't have enough time for myself. I say, what about something like golf for an hour a week, taking a walk at lunchtime, looking at different ways of working. So your social health, so making friends, that type of thing, it's really important to have that assessment for yourself. Geographic, you know, where have you been working for the last 6 weeks? 15% of people worked at home at the beginning of this health event, and now we're all there for some part of the day. It's really, really important to start having to think about how you're going to move forward with those areas. And that's what I would call your personal development, so to be thinking about that. Career health, where are you? Hopefully, as we go through these slides, you'll sort of come up with some new ideas of how you can help to develop yourself over the coming few months. And we don't know when the end of this is going to be, so we might as well just all get on with it and have a look at how we can make some real sensible changes. So let's have a look at you. This was a call that I was on earlier this week. I was facilitating a breakout room just like we are now, and we were talking about what's actually going on in people's lives and all about themselves and their business. So it's about looking at your future really, and what you're actually doing at the moment to make things better. So if we take that slice of life, that pink circle we just looked at, that one there, think about how you're feeling. How are you sleeping? Are you eating properly? Breathing deeply, because if you close your eyes and breathe deeply, it reduces your blood pressure, and it also slows down your heart. So it's a good thing to do, is to breathe deeply and get that air into your bloodstream. People that get good results and good performance is because they are working with those things. And having taught health education for 10 years, I would honestly say that my understanding of lifespan development and these key things are going to be important moving forward for you as an individual. So for your personal development, even me making little quick trips to the fridge every now and again, and we're all doing it, so we're all doing the same thing, so nothing wrong there, but everything in moderation. So feeling well, sleep, eat, breathe deeply, get results, because your performance is better when you're doing all of those things there. Next thing is, if you work as part of a team, I've got 4 people that work with me in the week. Teamwork makes the dream work, and I'm giving them all as much space as they want to at the moment to explain to me how they would like to develop their roles within the Academy and also Beverley Poole Consultancy. So there's a bunch of things that you can do to manage your teams. We've got software like Monday.com and Trello, which is sort of a project management type a process like Teams, where you can all sort of get involved. Better Place to Work, which looks at structures of teams and management. And also this business area that we're going through is a new phase, which I just want to have a look at briefly. So, your business and your ideas. When I can't actually even ask a question, because it's a me, so we'll do it at the end. I'm really interested to know how long you've had your business and where that came from. Was it your own money that you put into that, your time, your emotions, your passion? And we are not going to let that go. And my desert island analogy of safety, skills, and moving yourself forward applies the same as if you were going to abandon ship, and what people actually do. So the captain says, right, we're all going to abandon ship. First mate gets the orders out, the team leaders sort through the jobs, and the team get going on their roles. So first of all, you need somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's been all through this before, hasn't he? Or Tom Hanks, who's got that experience of living on a desert island, and even he had somebody to talk to every day called Wilson. So everybody needs somebody to talk to during this really challenging time. So we all need a really good go-to person, a mentor, a friend, a colleague. And Simon Sinek said in his video, which I was looking at yesterday, a mentor is a friend. It's a friendship between 2 people, because we can't know everything. So my PR lady, Kate Pierce, who works for Deep South Media, she always says I'm the business mum as the coach. So it's about having unconditional relationships, providing education and support, listening and directing you outside your usual business model to get you to develop yourself. So a business mentor is one of those people that can help you to do that. My business mentor lives in Belgium. My coach lives locally, who's on the call, I think, at the moment. I'm absolutely delighted about that, because she can give me some feedback when we've finished. And it's great to have you all on board. So this page here is what's all about you at the moment. Really be thinking about that. What skills and security have you got in place? Who is your trusted advisor? Who do you go to? Who do you talk to when you need some support and help to move you forward? Everybody needs one of those. I phoned my mum too. So this is where I am with business at the moment. So on all of my calls, wherever they are, moving forward, what do we need to do? And using my health background, I've started to use this analogy of triage. So if you're a triage nurse, what would you be doing right now? Getting everybody to wait their turn for a start. So you're taking a little bit of control of what's going on. But you've also got to start categorizing about things, who and what is important. So if you use the word triage and think about that and how you're going to implement it into your business, I would say that's a really jolly good place to start. Just going to go forward a little bit, because our nurse here, she's saying to take a ticket, but she's also got that face on, you know, is this what we rushed here for? So we need to be that personal face of our business as well. It's so important that we keep positive, we've got the right mindset for the people that work around us, so that we can make the right decisions at the right time. So this is how I've been prioritising things for my clients at the moment and people that I'm speaking to. If you can't afford at the moment, because your income has been reduced, to ask for help, ask somebody if they wouldn't mind doing some Skillshare with you. Because if somebody does marketing, it might actually be that they might want something that you're doing as well. So 12 months ago, I've got little notes at the top, we didn't have a social media manager, we didn't have a chief information officer in companies, We didn't have any artificial intelligence and different ways to do work, chat box, podcasts, all those sorts of things. They're all areas that we can actually ask for some help. So evaluate the most important key areas of your business, which is our triage nurse. Who, what, when, where, how are we going to prioritise your business right now? And the 3 things to look at are: stop. What are you doing in your own mind that you know is not working? Shelve it just for the time being. What things are you going to keep? And what new things are you going to start? And the little list at the bottom that I've got there will help you to do that. So analytics, where did your clients come from in the last 2 years, let's say? Current clients that you have, new ways to market what you do. And there's a little list at the bottom there of things that people may not be quite so used to, which are things like UX research, which is consumer research for your particular business. Biddable media, which is buying you space on the internet to target your particular clients directly. And advertising like Sky Ads, which is actually very affordable, will also target your own business area within a postcode area, and that might help as well. SEO, HubSpot for your client CRM, and also all of these things will fit outside your usual marketing. So it's just different ways of doing things. So stop, keep and start, have a think about some new ways of working and whether or not there are people around you that might be able to do some skill shares with you. So here's some ideas that I've been actually working on and some things that I'm going to be implementing for my own businesses. So going online, the new normal or the new ideas for business, definitely storytelling. Every time I post a story about what's been going on or something useful or interesting, it gets far more traction than just posting up something about reposting an article that you might have read or something like that. People love to know what you're doing because that's how we all learn, isn't it? We learn from each other. So marketing and media, all the things on the right hand side there on that graphic. Video. If you think about media across all the different platforms that we have and a different way of working across each. So you look at Instagram, which is being Facebook, is a very warm place to sell your story. Instagram is a place to talk about what you like to do. You could put lots of hashtags on there to pick up lots of people. If you hashtag and put something like media, you get about 1 million people that are actually following it. So follow the ones that are your business that are most relevant to your particular post. So Instagram's warm and friendly. Of course, LinkedIn is more of a business page. Facebook, again, you can get on there with your lives or your, we were just talking about sharing a screen so you can watch things with your friends or your colleagues. A whole bunch of different new ways of doing your social media. So video, I would say, try and think about how you can tell your story, where you've come from and where you're actually taking it. Podcasts are really great because you can talk to your clients as well, your teams and advisors, if you're not so happy with being on the screen as you would be with video. So that's a good way also for you to tell your story. Webinars you can pre-record, so you can do them over and over again if you get stuck or you have to re-record. And Facebook or LinkedIn now have a live feature, which if you're feeling brave and you've got a really good structured script you can actually work to, even if you haven't had to go before, nobody is judging you. We are in a whole new different way of working. You know, up until a few weeks ago, we all didn't know about Zoom rooms and how we could break out into different spaces and have you know, meetings. 12 months ago we didn't have a social media manager. We really now are in a great position to be able to make those changes, so have a go. Zoom, WebEx, we've got a new Facebook Live, haven't we now, rooms that we can go into. And we can also use those places for places like guest speakers, games and quizzes. And then we're just going to, in a minute, talk about online learning and e-learning courses. So you've got all these new great ideas and places for you to be able to share your business. What I think is worthwhile and something that I'm also talking to clients about at the moment is risk assessing the future. So really looking at the key factors that you've had to deal with over the last few weeks, and get on board some business continuity planning now. So what changed? I know I saved £300 this last week on petrol, which is absolutely amazing. But if you think about your business and financial support and all those sorts of things, and technology that you might have not had, you may have been putting off getting a new laptop for ages, is really about changing our work ethics now, isn't it, to get these things on board. Get yourself some financial advice, technology, insurance policies. Some haven't actually covered risk, the risks that we're going to at the moment, so make sure that your insurances do cover that. Team management, what would happen in this situation if it arose again. Performance reviews, how are you going to implement those in the future, bearing in mind everybody's been working at home quite recently. Open discussion, know, like, trust with the people that are around you. And the new way of working is very much about planet, product and price. So also be thinking in your risk assessment for the future about sustainability. And one thing that I've actually got on my website at the moment is about the UN Sustainability Development Goals, looking at how we can have this sustainable culture for the future, and how that's actually going to work for you, and how you can implement that across your business. So if anybody's interested in looking at that, it is actually on my website at the moment, and you can take that from there. So really important to look at your business past, present and future, and how if we had an economic downturn, or if we have a second spike of this horrendous health event that we're going through at the moment, how are you actually going to manage that process? So moving on to online learning, what is it? About a year or so ago, I took my 10 years of teaching, 20 years in business and training and education, and thought, okay, how am I going to get all this online so I can actually help people to get their skills on board? E-learning is not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a way to make loads of money overnight. What I wanted to do was to provide a platform for people to share their skills. So to share your skills as an e-learning or learning development is in essential passive income. But what we've done with Aspire for Business Academy is we've provided a place where people can actually put their knowledge and their skills to enable them to look at how they can develop their programs over time, but also saving themselves money and in the process. So there's loads of places that you can put your e-learning if you want to. There's Teachable, there's Kajabi. You can put your e-learning onto platforms like Udemy or Skillshare, etc., etc. But we've got a unique sales point, which is we upload, we manage, we certificate, and we help you when you get stuck. So we don't just give you a place to put your training, it's a place where we can collaborate. So from that, the term of networking online became we achieve more when we collaborate. So think about what skills you might have to share. Who do you want to share that with? And who do you need to e-learn from your knowledge? So when you think about honing in on your skills, people have been saying to me, but what would I tell people about? It's about honing in on your client, really. So if you think about how young people take on board information, which is very much driven in the media to video and streaming, what is it that they might need for marketing? So if you were going to talk about, oh, well, I do marketing for my job, you might say, okay, well, hone in on one area of your marketing, which is, let's say, social media, and then hone in again, let's say, on Instagram. So be thinking about the skills that you've got to share, but in a more precise way. So what e-learning is really is workshops that you might ordinarily deliver in a classroom setting, but you break down the subject areas to help the person that's learning your skill to take that on board. So exactly the same as you would, but you don't get so much of the interaction. Let's move on. So here's a summary of what I would say you need to do to think about your e-learning is you need to have some authority. So what you do and who you are. So I started off this little presentation today by talking about my background and my skills, which hopefully would give me some credibility to talk to you today about you and your business and taking learning online. The values that you bring, what are you sharing that's of benefit to your delegates? So it's not just about giving away all of your knowledge, it's also about helping them to learn and take something on board. Trust is the next one. So knowing that your delegate is going to learn something from you, they need to trust you on that. So you need to get point 1 and 2 really right in that point. And then insight, lots of, oh, I didn't know that moments, which is what people like, isn't it? So I was looking at one of the courses on our platform yesterday, and it was talking about PowerPoint as it happens, and inserting video. And it also said how you trim it. How you make it look a little nicer, how you present that, and how you can rerun it. So it's really worthwhile really thinking about those, oh, I didn't know that moments. And then urgency is to get ahead of the competition. So by taking your course online, you are enabling people to help them to upskill effectively. So we use this word HIPS. Keep yourself happy in the moment, present and smile, so that people are really taking on board your experience through the authority and value of what you're actually explaining to them. And why? Who needs to know this information? What are you doing if you share your knowledge with them? And who else knows this information? So by helping people understand their why to get ahead, will help them to upskill their own programs within their own CPD. So upskill, improve their social health, they'll have more to talk about, taking action, which means they're taking responsibility for their own development, and continuing professional development for those that need it. I will take questions and answers at the end, so we'll be able to do that too. So you don't have to be a teacher to take your knowledge on board to an e-learning platform. And I put the woman at the top there with a there, and there, which is, you know, just making sure that you get those things right. Really important if you're writing information down is to get the words right as well. So you can show people how to take a photograph with a camera if you're a photographer. You can share your knowledge of fire safety and how to plan if you're a fire safety expert, but you usually go and maybe service fire extinguishers, so you can still do that. You can show people how to manage projects. You can show people how to implement an idea, such as how to put sustainability into their business, how we look at mental health, ambassador programs, or well-being and back problems in the workplace and how we can get over those. So exercise schedules in the workplace could be a chiropractor or a physio at the moment that hasn't got the ability to go out and do their physical work one-to-one with their clients. Self-divorce guides might be quite helpful at the end of this, I thought, and enabling people to talk about relationships. Leadership and management, oh, miss one out there, how to set up a charity. That's something that people ask me quite frequently. Do you know how to set up a charity? What do I need to do? So if anybody's online that's got that experience, that would make a perfect e-learning program for people. Presentation skills, we do those things all the time, don't we? And on the Spire platform, we've broken ours down into business, wellbeing, lifestyle and education, mini guides, courses, free resources and reframe for previously recorded materials. So we give people the opportunity to look at all of those areas. I love the fact that you can actually do things like art journaling now and how to draw, you know, as a sort of a way of helping people through the next few weeks even, to spend some time away from work when they're got their own time in the evening. So all of those things there were areas that I just thought of from different jobs that people might have. I'd be really happy if anybody at the end of this on the Q&A sort of says, you know, what do you think I could do? And hopefully I'll be able to come up with an idea, because that's how my head works. So lots of ways that you can take your skills online, and you don't need to be a teacher. So in summary of just what we've been over for the last half an hour or so, none of us anymore are experts in what we do. We can't possibly be experts in social media, planning, marketing, everything. We are in a whole new different time frame now. We're all second guessing at the areas that we're actually working in too. We need to listen to specialists, and if we don't have those, is to hire one or do the Skillshare option that I talked about earlier. It's a really great time to sort of talk to lots more people online. Go on to these Zoom calls. There's so many at the moment, and I've gained such a great lot of insight into what people are actually doing. And then people might even ask you to go and talk on their Zooms as an expert for lunchtime, because people aren't going to want to be managing the team every day online for lunchtime Zooms, lunch and learns, things like that. Those companies might want people that specialise in a particular skill to enable their staff or their team members to get some more information on board over their Zoom calls. Really good way of getting your skills out there too. So the summary of what we talked about for triage: stop, start and keep. What is it that you're going to actually do with your business that's going to be helpful in the short term? Isn't this the most fantastic opportunity to make some changes? I have absolutely relished this week. I've got a list of 22 things to do, people to talk to, and a new column to write, which I'm so excited about, to help get careers out there as well and share my experience in that area. Plan, do, review. It's a great time to reflect on what we've done. What wouldn't we have done if we'd have had this time again? What have we actually learned about the last 6 weeks? I think it's a really exciting time to take our businesses forward and to enable us to think about some new and great ideas. Time with your family is really important. So I've set my 88-year-old dad up on his iPad so we can zoom in on him and talk to him about how they're doing. Because it's really important that we spend time with our family. So as I say, I've saved some money on petrol expenses this month, which is absolutely brilliant, but it seems to have gone in food in my fridge for my 2 daughters who are both home. So perhaps we didn't save as much as we would have liked. Change to procedures. What is it that you're going to do differently? What is it that you might want to change? What is it that you might want to implement now into your work or into your marketing program? Staff development, whether that's yourself if you're a solopreneur, or whether that's your team. It's really important to start looking at that. And even furloughed staff can do training, but they can't do their mandatory training. So if you're, let's say, a charity, you can't do things like safeguarding updates and things like that. What you can do, though, is personal development. You can look at different ways of learning. So this is a whole learning experience for us all now. I think we're taking on board something new every day. And as I say at the top, a fantastic opportunity to make those changes. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about Academy and how we can support you, your business and e-learning programs, do get in touch at hello@aspireforbusiness.com. I'm just creating the e-learning course program at the moment, which will enable people to watch that in their own time. That'll be on a mini course. And just finally, Beverley Poole Consultancy, if you are in any need of troubleshooting, ideas for strategy, communication and message for your business is a key area that I help people with. Your business statement, what does it say about you on that front page of your website? When I have a look at some websites on my mobile phone and I scroll down, all the pictures are wrong and there's no real statement there. Those are the sorts of things I look at for people. Business planning, personal development, links to specialists as I'm a networker. And if you want to know about any of those, that information, it's beverleypoole@live.co.uk. Happy to help. Might be able to do some Skillshare. So as we said right at the very, very start, just bringing that on board, everybody wants, they go, who wants change? Yeah, we don't like it the way it is. Everybody that puts their hand up, we might have seen this all before. Who wants to change? And everybody puts their hands down because it's really hard and it hurts. But it's a fantastic opportunity to do that, as long as you've got your mindset in the right place and you look after those people that are in your business and the people that you work with every day, enabling them, enabling yourself, and hopefully we all come out of this at the other end and you all actually look okay. Actually, I think everybody's sort of been taking some notes there, which is absolutely fantastic, and happy to share my experiences with you, and I hope that's been really helpful. Can I take my screen share off now, Shelley? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Beverley. That was great.
And then we can maybe do some Q&A. Happy with that?
Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, pop them in the chat. There was some general comments there, but a question from Astrid. What's your key learning from this time? So I'm assuming that is COVID-19 related.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is...
well, somebody says they want to go to Leonardo, which is great.
Oh, that was actually me.
Well done.
I love Leonardo.
And Simon, loads of talks on YouTube. Well, yes, well worth a watch. Thank you for that. Sorry, I didn't catch the question from Astrid and I can't see it here either. Can you just say that?
It was basically, Astrid put, it's a learning experience for us all. What are your key learnings from this time? As in, I'm assuming that means around the whole COVID-19 and the big change that everybody has been experiencing.
Okay, for myself, it's actually been honing in on my own skills and how I want to take those forward, really. There's a few areas that I've stopped and I've shelved, which you might be able to see behind me is my retreats. I've had to put all of those on hold for now because there's no way we can actually start that. There was an executive retreat going out to South Africa. We had a ladies' retreat for health and wellbeing in the Isle of Wight, and we were also looking at a course that was actually looking at leadership and development as well. So we've had to put all of those on hold until later on this year, or also into next spring. So that sort of made a great big hole really in everything that I was planning. And events, I run quite a lot of events. I ran about 25 events last year for various things. And of course I've had to stop those, so I'm going to take one or two online. It's a really pertinent point actually, Astrid, because, and I know we've spoken about this as well, key learning areas that I've taken out of this is you've got to be honest, okay? You've got to be honest with yourself now and really sort of start honing in on what your skills really are. There are an absolute myriad of opportunities now to start new things, and it's a great time to do that. I hope that answers the question. My takeaway from all of this, I am so grateful for having the time at home also with my daughters, and who were the reason I actually changed my career in the middle. And also, if anybody online here would like me to interview them about career change, that's what I'm going to be doing as part of my column in Socialite. If you've changed career midway, I'm really interested to hear from you, and I will be able to give you some recognition and an overview in that particular column. So thank you. That'd be great. Anybody else?
Brilliant. We've got a question from Michelle. Michelle says, I may have missed part of the presentation, but just wondering the best place to partake in Skillshare services.
Okay, so what you can do is to put, you could make yourself a Canva and you could say, you know, during this challenging time, I'm looking for this is what I've got to offer. So it's up to you really to do that. We do a lot of that through LinkedIn Local. There's a LinkedIn Local Bournemouth and Poole page on the LinkedIn as a connection from my own page. If you put on there something that you might need to Skillshare, I will ask the group. I think there's about 800 companies on there now. Hi Heidi, I've just seen you in there. And Heidi did a lovely talk at one of those. And if we can Skillshare anywhere, I can put that up for you. That's no problem at all. We can see what we can do.
Lovely, thank you.
Problem.
And Lorraine has asked, when designing a learning experience, is there a way to add questions at the end to ensure that the key learning points have landed, particularly important if issuing certificates for CPD?
Yeah, So with all learning, we have sort of summative and formative and summative assessment, just like you would in education. So that formative assessment would be maybe some questions at the end of each of those learning tasks. So on Academy, we have what we call chapters, just like in a book. So that at the end of each chapter, there will be maybe a question or something, or a quiz or something that you would have to do before you can go on to the next stage, or advised to go on to the next stage. If you've got a learning program which is like with a client and you want them to write a report, we've got a facility for a Dropbox, and whoever is the delegate on the course can actually put their questionnaires into that, and we forward those onto the trainer or the person that's sharing their skills. So when designing learning experience, before we issue any certificates, it would be up to the trainer to manage that process, to give that summative assessment at the end. So, and if it's just a how-to guide, I think I've seen that somewhere on the questions as well, that's just going to be information. You would still get a certificate at the end of that. There is a review section also at the end of all the training. And I think, thank you very much, Lorraine, I've just seen you put that up there. So the way that people handle their own training, we mentor. So we help people up front to do that, very much in a way of, do you need to take short, snappy bursts throughout your course, or is this a program over 6 weeks where at the end of each process you could maybe have a one-to-one on the phone? It's so flexible to get your story online, Shelley, in terms of the length of your courses, if they're programs, if it's a how-to guide, and what we do as a platform is see people through that all the way and help them if they get stuck, which is apparently our USP, I was told the other day.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Any other questions? We've just got just less than 5 minutes left before we move back into the main room, just for the summing up session. So if anybody does have any other questions, please pop them in to the chat. I do have to say, Beverley, I really enjoyed the beginning of your session with the closing my eyes and breathing, because
Yes.
I feel like today it has been quite a busy day, and I don't think anybody has actually had a chance to breathe. So this was the perfect session for me to finish off.
Yes, and it's really important that we do that, isn't it? Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Heidi. And I am always the positive motivator. I do little sessions called mini motivators, actually, as we know, and where I take people through, you know, sort of little simple things they can change just to make a difference to their own lives. But it's really important to stop and breathe, and do this tonight when you're lying in bed. Stop, take a really deep breath in, because you can hear your heart beating in your ears, can't you, when you're lying down quiet. Take a deep breath in right into the bottom of your lungs and breathe out, and you will notice your heart slows down. We need to stop, we need to breathe, and we need to take care of ourselves. This is a really stressful time for a lot of people. This is really stressful on here with all these people, I'm telling you. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm very, very happy to answer any questions by email anyway. No problem at all, and happy to see you all as well when we do a LinkedIn session later on this year. That'd be fantastic.
That's lovely, thank you.
Shelley.
I've been using I did a course recently, actually. It was the Action for Happiness organisation. It was all about exploring what matters.
Yes.
And one of the things that you got from doing the course was a free access to the Headspace app for a year. And do you know what? I've absolutely loved it. And just particularly during this period when I've been working from home, there's been 2 of us kind of using the same dining table. We're working at opposite ends and limited opportunity to go outside.
Yes.
It's lovely for me just to sit on my balcony and put my Headspace app on for 10 minutes and just to take a bit of time away.
Yes, it's really important, isn't it? And this app that I'm developing for the girls at school, which is Talbot Heath, and that was part of a Dragon's Den thing that I did with Bournemouth University and Barclays. And these girls came up with this idea, and they said, you know, it's so important, and nobody really they wanted to talk amongst themselves, and I thought, well, that's a brilliant idea. So I took it actually on as an app project. We've had to shelve it just for the time being, which is one of those shelved things that I've done. But it's so important for everybody, all ages, and we really underestimate, you know, as a child development specialist myself, you know, children being away from their friends and having that social interaction, especially young people who, you know, maybe have some learning challenges, things like that, and how difficult it's going to be to get them all back to interact. Somebody's just put on here, I keep a daily happiness journal. That's a really great idea, isn't it? You know, because you can write down how you're feeling every day. And don't you think every day is different? Like, you know, how different you feel every day when you get up at the moment. And I know that, you know, one of my daughters is dying to go outside the door, you know, and so I've sort of set her off on little challenges or tasks, you know, to do, go to the post office, or, you know, just walk around the block, that type of thing, because she's 19 and it's challenging, isn't it? Really important to have your headspace and to do those breathing exercises and to relax. Very, very important.
Yeah, really good. And yeah, just echoing what Heidi said, how do you stay so positive and productive? It's a breath of fresh air. I think unwittingly you were a great person for us to finish on today, Beverley. So
I thought this was going to be the graveyard shift, you know, Friday afternoon, everybody's tired. But do you know what? I think my life has had, I'm being honest now and sharing, but I've had such extremes from one extreme to the other. I've brought my children up on my own for 13 years, been to university. I worked with families during that time that I was at uni for 4 years, as well as working in social care. And I'm just going to switch that off a minute because it's distracting, is to see the worst that life can actually offer. And also I've seen the best that life can offer, you know, and I've lived in the middle of that somewhere for the last however many years. But every day you have to be grateful for something, you know, and I've always, as Heidi knows, got that very positive attitude. You know, everybody always says to me, you know, and I'm like, what do they call it, pocket rocket or something, because I'm actually quite sure. Energy, I think I get that from my mum, that's just genetics. And I share. So I share my knowledge, share my experiences, help people to be successful. There is no side to it, as Heidi will know. It's all given freely, and I'm happy to help wherever I can. You know,
I think we're literally about to close in 2 seconds. So thank you